there's a way in Ableton to really customize your own sounds. Now that comes with a lot of great sounds, a great software instruments and loops and samples. Um, but let's say you really want a specific sound. You can always create your own colors and sounds right here in Ableton by stacking instruments and adjusting parameters to make custom sounding instruments, and then you can save them back to your library to recall them later. So how do we do this? So let's say I pull in, excuse me, let's say I pull in this piano right here. And it sounds nice and I like it. But let's say I want to add something to it. I can come through here, and let's say I want to add that organ to it. Well, if you see right here, there's a list of all the sounds that make up that grand piano. So if we solo this, there's the piano, another piano with some delay, and the pad, and those all make up this grand piano thin air that I just imported right here. But if I want to add to it, I can just pick an instrument, pick something I like, and just add it to this list. So now I'm playing all of them as one instrument. Now I don't like that. I want it to come down a little bit, so I'm going to click here, drag down, and bring the volume down. Alright, and if you like that, cool. If not, you can always delete it and pick something else. Alright, so that's basically how you can add samples together, create your own colors and your own sounds and instruments. And it's really limitless possibilities. So for this guy, if I wanted to turn it up or change it, I mean, you could see as you select each one, they're all customizable. So I can start messing with the frequencies. And then so anyways, that's a basic understanding of how you can just add instruments in here to create new sounds and new synths and whatever you want to do. So you can also layer kick drums in here to create fuller kicks and pretty much just anything. So when we get into sound design, we'll use this more. But anyways, that's just a basic understanding. Oh, and I almost forgot, you can save it. So I created a sound here. If I want to call upon this later, I could just save this. You go right here, click save. It automatically puts it in your user library, instrument rack. I saved one earlier called My Piano. We can call this one Dream Piano. Now, if I ever want to get that guy again, let's say we create a new track. I want that one. There it is. All right, so anyways, have fun creating your own sounds. Let's talk about kick drums and an easy way to get a punchier sounding kick. Now, with kick drums, you could spend a long time going through libraries trying to find sounds, and there are a lot of great sounds out there, and you might find what you're looking for, but sometimes it might take some ingenuity and a little bit of experimentation to get the sound that you want that will fit right in your mix. And so let's talk right now about combining different kick drums, EQing them, blending them together to get a desired sound. So right here, as you can see, I created a drum rack, pulled a couple different kick sounds in here, made a quick little pattern here, and you can see it up here, and we'll play it. So what I do is basically get one kick that fills up the low end of the frequency spectrum and another kick that covers the high end. You blend those together, you get no clashing of frequencies, and you just layer them one on top of the other, and you get the punchiness of the high frequency and the fatness of the low frequency. So let me show you what I mean. So for this first kick, play for me, please. Oh, here we go. For this first kick, that's what we have. So what I've done is I've created an EQ, and I basically put a low pass filter on it. I cut out all the highs, so I just hear the low frequency, the fatness on the low frequency. Okay? All right, with the EQ engaged, and you can see it working here. All these frequencies, we've cut them out. So we're just hearing the low frequencies here. All right? So that's one kick. Then I came and chose another kick right here, and that's what that one sounded like. Not as fat and boomy as the other one, but there's still some low end frequency stuff going on. So I created another EQ and basically put a high pass filter on it. And I didn't cut too much of the lows out, but just enough to where the other kick and this kick won't clash. Okay, so let me show you without the EQ engaged and with it. So the frequencies here, we're cutting them out. Okay, so now we have both. Let's listen to them one at a time with the EQ we've done, and then blend them together and kind of see how they sound. First kick. Now with the second kick engaged. You can hear how it's punchy, but you still got low end. All right, so again, the second kick, just the highs. First kick, just the lows. Put them together. So there you go, that's basically it. You take the low end of one kick, blend it with the high end of another kick, you sandwich them together, and then you have a punchier sounding kick. Especially when you start getting basses or synthesizers in the track, you're going to want that high end, the clickiness of the kick drum to cut through, because you're going to feel that low sub anyway, but you kind of want to hear that clarity too. And the kick drums you want, that's going to depend on the style of music and the sound, obviously, that you want. So have fun, experiment with that, blending kick drums, and you don't have to stop at two. You could do multiples. Just have fun. All right, so that's blending kick drums to get a punchier sounding kick. Okay, so last time we talked about kick drums, how to layer them, how to create a desired sound for whatever style of music you're working on. We created one low kick, one high kick, we blended them together, and that was cool. So now let's talk about how to do something else that's very cool. We're going to be working with hi-hats today, and we're going to be doing a popular sounding trap beat hi-hat, and I'm going to show you how to do it. So right now we have our drum rack, it's empty. We're going to come over here to drums, drum hits, hi-hats, 808 hi-hat, drag it in here. Okay, sounds like that. Let's bring that up a little bit. Okay, and we put that right there. Now we go to MIDI effects, we add an arpeggiator. Just go ahead and drag that right in there. And basically what an arpeggiator is going to do is it's going to separate out the notes depending on what we choose. Right, so I'm holding the note here, and it's holding them out. So we're going to put this on chord trigger. Okay. So now by changing the rate, we could change the speed that the arpeggiator is reproducing the hi-hat sound. So right now, it's here at 1/8. So if we can imagine that our click is here, those are quarter notes. Right now, it's going to be playing back at 8th notes, so twice the amount of notes as the click. So hear what I'm talking about. And I'm just holding down the note. I'm not pressing it separately. The arpeggiator is doing all the notes for me. I'm just hitting it one time. All right, now if we mess with the rate, we could pull this back to 16th notes, and that's going to take us to 16 notes per bar. So let's hear what that sounds like. "30-second notes, go up to 64ths. All right, and so basically if we click over here, we can option select, drag it over, and now it's just going to basically copy whatever's here. It's going to duplicate it. So let's create a couple of them. So now on my first one, I can have my regular 8th notes. My second one, I can have, let's say, 16th notes. Come on. There they are. And over here, something like that. So now you can imagine you have all these different sounds. So if you go to to your MIDI clip, all right. So if we put that here, let's just be right, or something. And so let's get a clap just so we can kind of hear what this might sound like. Go to our drums. Clap. Oops. And this guy down here. There's our clap. And whatever. So anyways, you can kind of get the idea. Just play around with it, have fun. We're going to build a drum rack, bring the hi-hat sound in, drag the arpeggiator into it, which is in MIDI effects. Option, click, and drag to create as many as you want, and then program the speeds that you like. Now obviously, we have 8th notes here. That's based on our tempo. So if we bring our tempo down to this, it's going to change it. If we bring our tempo way up, all right, so there it is. That's how you make trap beat hi-hats, and have fun with that. Alright, so in this video, we're going to use something called a compressor and something called sidechain compression to create a sort of pump effect to our chord. I'm going to show you what it is, and then I'm going to show you how to make it. So basically it's this. You can hear how it has that pumping action going on. It's because of this compressor. Listen when I deactivate the compressor. And then when I activate it, alright, so I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. So first of all, I came here, you want to insert a kick drum. Here we have this guy. And for electronic music, just go ahead and click in one per beat of the measure. So if we're in 4/4, let me take that off. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you see 1, 1-2, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4. So you want to put a kick on each note. It's going to be what we call 4 on the floor. Okay, so that's the first thing. And once you have that in, you're good. Now you can elaborate on the drum beat, putting claps and stuff in there, but we're just going to focus on the kick drum for now. Okay, so that's step one. Step two is to find a synthesizer sound that you like. Okay, I picked this one. Excuse me, I picked this one. Alright, and by doing that, we have one note sustaining. We can go to MIDI effects, drag this guy right in there, which I already have him in there. And this is going to take this one note and create a chord out of it, so you don't have to click in all the notes together. So I shifted by 5, well basically 3, 5, and 7, and I went from this to this. Okay? So now if we play our kick drum and our synth together, it sounds like this. Okay? Now for the pumping action. We're going to go to our synth with the chord that's sustaining for a whole bar. We're going to go to audio effects. We're going to go here to compressor, grab the whole folder, drag it down here. Okay? See this little arrow? Click it. And you're going to see something here called sidechain. Go ahead and click that so it lights up. And for audio from, right now it's on no input. You want to click that and you want to select the kick drum that's 4 on the floor, because that's going to be dictating how we're pumping through this compressor. So click the kick drum, which we could see is here. Okay. Next thing, we want to come over here. We see peak, RMS, and expand. Put that on RMS. Now, when you play this, you can mess with the threshold to change the speed of the pump, the intensity of the pump. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright, and that's basically it. Now you can mute the kick drum, but it's still going to have the same effect because it's still being routed to here. We just can't hear it. Which is a kind of a cool effect if you're building up your beat. Okay, so that's basically how to do it, how to get the pumping action on your synth using sidechain compression, and have fun. Thanks. So what I want to do now is show you guys how to achieve the sort of dubstep bass sound, or that wobble bass sound. It's really easy. It only takes a couple steps, and we're going to show you how to do it right now. So first thing you do, create a MIDI track. We're going to come over to Instruments, and we're going to drag over an operator to our MIDI track. Okay? And you could see it down here. When you open it up at first, it's going to have A, B, C, and D activated, but we're only going to use A and B. So you can uncheck C and D. And I'm just playing it on the keyboard right now. Okay, so first let's go to A. We're going to go over here to Wave, and we're going to click a different type of wave, like a square wave. And basically the difference between a sine wave and a square wave is this is the wave here. That's what the sound wave looks like. And you can hear how it's very smooth. But when we go to a square wave, it's square. It's got a harder, crunchier sound to it. So we are going to make A a square wave, or square D is what I have here. Okay, and B we're going to leave it sine wave, and we're going to bring the level up. So that's what we're going to have right now. Okay, now the next step is to come over here to our filter and make sure this is on low SVF, which it's already set to, but it might not be set like that automatically on yours. So just make sure it's on that. And we're going to move this frequency down to like 300 or so. Okay. So you hear the difference? So obviously this is a low frequency, low pass filter. It's letting everything under 313 Hertz right now pass through while cutting everything else, and you can see it represented here. Okay, all this is playing and all this is being cut out. All right, next go to this LFO, and we are going to uncheck A, B, C, and D because we only want it to affect the filter, FIL, that's this right here. So it's only, this is going to be affecting our filter. All right, now if we bump this up to about 70%, you can hear it moving, and if we adjust the rate, all right, we start to get that wobble. Now what you could do is click here and put it on sync. That means whatever your time signature is, or however fast your music is, it will adjust accordingly. So we have 1/16, which is 16th notes, 8th notes. Okay, so let's go ahead and just play the click, and so we can hear what they sound like. Okay, so if you want to put it in time, you can press sync. If not, if you want to just let it flow and you can adjust the rate yourself, you can just put it back on low. So let's leave that on sync. So we're basically there. Now if you come over here to time down here, click voices, and I like to put it on one voice. That means I can only play one note at a time, rather than having it on 6 voices where you can double up notes. All right, so I'm going to put that on 1. And also you can adjust the tone here. And the volume. Okay. And then also our pitch envelope wheel here. This gives it a bend. We're bending up into the note. And this one we're bending down into the note. Okay, can adjust the spread. If you're wearing headphones, you can hear the difference here. This is more in the center. When you turn the spread up, you can hear it more spread out left and right. Okay, and that's basically it. You can adjust the level of your two waves here, your sine and your square wave, or your square wave and your sine wave. And there you have it. That's how to achieve the wobble bass sound in Ableton. What we're going to talk about now is how to design this pluck lead sound. And in fact, you might recognize it from a popular song out there. So let's dive right in. I have some drums set up for the demonstration later on. But first thing we want to do, so just ignore these tracks right here. First thing we're going to do is pull in a simpler. So go to Instruments, Simpler. Okay. And then we're going to go to Samples. And what we want to get is an 808 drum. So I'm just going to search it right there. Let's see here. That kick, it's a classic kick drum. We're going to pull that right in there. Okay, so now that we have that, I'm just going to create a MIDI clip. Now that we have this, it's going to sound like that, okay? Let's start tweaking it. First thing we're going to do is go to High Pass 24. We're going to put our frequency to about 90. 85 is fine. And this will stay at 70. I'm sorry, 0.7. So now we have this sound. Next up, we're going to add a reverb to it. So come over here, go to Audio Effects. Wait for that to load. Oh, there we go. Audio Effects. We're going to go to Reverb. We're going to open up that folder and we're going to use one of the rooms, and we're going to use Big Room. So just drag this right over here where it says Drop Audio Effects. We have that. If we go up an octave, you might start recognizing the sound. What we're going to do is we're going to take this to about half, 50%. Okay, we can take our decay time up a little bit. And now you might recognize the sound. Something like that. So you can use that as a lead sound. And we'll just play a little drum beat here. Something like that. So anyways, that's how to make this lead sound. To make it even bigger, in fact, we should add a compressor. So go to Audio Effects, go to a compressor, and let's just pick this guy, Loud Kneeless Compressor. That sounds pretty good. Okay, and when you pull on a preset like this, unless you really are going for a specific sound, I'm not going to tweak this too much because I like the way that sounds. Okay, so anyways, that's how to do it. That's how to create this plucky lead sound. In this video, we're going to talk about a simple way to do what's called a filter sweep. And basically it can be used to introduce a new section or a breakdown section or to build up into something bigger. But I'm going to show you how to do it right now. So what we want to do, Shift Command T, create a new MIDI track. And we are going to pull an operator into here. Okay, what we're going to do, deselect D, C, and B so we only have A, and change the wave to white noise, or noise white, but it's called white noise. Click that, and it's going to sound like this, like staticky. Okay, so I have this little beat here, and it builds up into the beat. Now I want to create a sweep going up into the beat drop here. So I'm going to select from here to here on my operator, insert MIDI clip. Here we are. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to write this white noise all the way across the MIDI clip. So it's going to sound like this. All right, not very pleasant right now, but stick with me. I'm also going to turn the volume down just a tad. I guess I could change it from here. Okay, so we have our white noise recorded for the duration of this before the beat comes in. All right, so the next thing we want to do is click here, go to operator, and right here we're going to go, I'm going to press F on the keyboard to take us down to here. We want to go to filter frequency. This is going to be what's called automation. Now, automation is when you change a setting of something during the playback or during the recording or something. So it's not just going to stay at this frequency, it's going to change as it plays on. And I'm going to show you how to do it, and you're going to hear what it sounds like. So this is our bar for filter frequency. Okay, so that's our bar. So I'm going to start it about right here. I'm going to start it about right here, and I'm going to click there at the start of our note to make this little dot here. Then I'm going to go to the end of our MIDI clip, click another one, and then click one right after it. Now with this one, I'm going to pull it all the way up to there. Okay, now what you're going to see is that the filter frequency goes from low to 96 hertz all the way up to 18.5 kilohertz as the section goes on. And as that happens, we're going to get this sweeping effect that's going to really build up our intro. Okay, so let's listen to it. Okay, and that's the basics of it. Now to make it sound bigger, what we could do is go over to audio effects and add a reverb to our operator here. So go ahead and just drag it right next to it. Again, we're using the operator to automate the filter, frequency for white noise. We changed it to white noise here on A. And now with this reverb, we're going to put it up to about 75% wet. And this is going to add a sustaining effect to it. So right now we're looking at the reverb. So you can see this line here. If we want to go back to our automation, we click Operator, back to our filter frequency, and if you've automated something, it's going to show up red. So now we're automating this, we have our reverb, and let's hear what the whole thing sounds like. So anyways, that's basically how to do it. If you want to get a bigger reverb, you can either pump this all the way up or go into the settings and grab like a giant hall, like a cathedral or something like that. But anyways, yeah, that's a basic way to create a filter sweep. It's a great way to introduce new sections or to create tension building up into something bigger. And just experiment with it and have fun.